Hello, everyone. Welcome to Easy English Listening. Today, we will talk about a very common problem in learning English. Many learners study grammar for many years. They learn many grammar rules. They memorize many sentence structures. They complete hundreds of exercises in textbooks. But when they try to speak English in real life, they feel nervous. They hesitate. Sometimes they cannot say even a simple sentence. Have you ever experienced this? Maybe you know many grammar rules, but when you want to speak, your mind suddenly becomes empty. If this happens to you, do not worry. You are not alone. Many English learners around the world have the same experience. Today we will explore an important question. Why do many learners study grammar for years, but still cannot speak English fluently? And how can we solve this problem? Let's begin.
Part 1. The way many people learn English.
In many countries, students learn English mainly through grammar. In school, teachers explain grammar rules. Students copy the rules into their notebooks. Then they complete exercises in textbooks. For example, students may do activities like these. Fill in the blanks. Choose the correct verb tense. Rewrite the sentence. Translate the sentence into English. These exercises are useful. They help students understand grammar structures. But there is one important problem. Most of these activities do not involve real communication. Students rarely have long conversations in English. They rarely express their own ideas. Instead, they focus on finding the correct answer.
Because of this, many students become very good at grammar exercises, but they do not develop speaking ability. They know the rules, but they cannot use the language naturally. This creates frustration for many learners.
Part 2. Grammar knowledge and language skill.
It is important to understand something. Knowing grammar rules is knowledge. Speaking English is a skill. Knowledge and skill are different things. Let us think about another example. Imagine someone reads many books about swimming. They understand how the human body moves in water. They understand breathing techniques. They understand how to move their arms and legs. But they have never entered a swimming pool. Can this person swim well? Probably not. Why? Because swimming is a skill. It requires practice. Language works in the same way. You cannot learn to speak English only by studying grammar rules. You must practice speaking. You must train your brain to produce language quickly. Only practice can develop this ability.
Without practice, grammar knowledge remains passive. Part 3.
The fear of making mistakes. Another reason many learners avoid speaking is fear. Many students want their English to be perfect. They do not want to make mistakes. They worry about using the wrong tense. They worry about saying something incorrect. They worry that other people will laugh at them. Because of this fear, many learners stay silent. They spend more time studying grammar, hoping that one day their English will become perfect. But this strategy does not work. Language learning requires mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are part of the learning process. Every mistake teaches the brain something new. When children learn their first language, they make many mistakes. But nobody expects them to be perfect. They learn by trying again and again. Adult learners must accept the same process.
Part 4.
Thinking too much about grammar. Sometimes learners know so many grammar rules that speaking becomes difficult. When they want to speak, they begin to analyze every sentence. For example, they may think like this. Should I use present perfect? Maybe past simple is better. Is this sentence correct? Is the verb in the right form? While they are thinking, the conversation continues. Other people keep talking. The moment to speak disappears. This situation is called overthinking. Too much analysis can stop communication. Fluent speakers do not think about grammar rules all the time. Instead, they rely on instinct. Their brain has heard the language many times, so sentences appear naturally. Learners can develop this instinct through listening and practice.
Part 5. How children learn language.
Let us look how children learn language. Children do not study grammar books. They do not memorize grammar rules. Instead, they listen to the people around them. They hear thousands of sentences every day. Slowly, their brain begins to recognize patterns. They imitate words. They experiment with sentences. At first, they make many mistakes. But with time, their language becomes clearer. Eventually, they speak their native language fluently. This process shows something important. Language ability grows through exposure and practice. Grammar explanations can help adult learners. But explanations should support practice, not replace it.
Part 6. The power of listening. Listening is one of the most powerful ways to learn English. When you listen regularly, you hear natural sentence structures. You hear how native speakers actually use grammar. After hearing a sentence many times, your brain begins to recognize it automatically. For example, you may hear the sentence, "I have lived here for 5 years." If you hear this structure many times, your brain begins to understand it naturally. You no longer need to analyze the grammar. It simply feels correct. This is how language intuition develops. Regular listening slowly trains your brain. Part 7. Why speaking is essential. Speaking is another essential skill. Many learners spend hours reading and studying grammar. But they rarely practice speaking. Speaking can feel uncomfortable. It requires courage. It exposes mistakes. But speaking is necessary for fluency. When you speak, your brain learns to organize ideas quickly. It learns to choose words faster. It learns to form sentences in real time. These abilities cannot develop through reading alone. Even short speaking sessions can help. You can practice speaking in many ways. You can talk with friends. You can join language exchange groups. You can record your voice. You can even talk to yourself in English. The important thing is to use the language actively. Part 8. A better way to learn grammar. Grammar is still important. It helps organize language. But grammar should support communication. A better strategy is to learn grammar in small amounts. Focus on one structure at a time. Then practice using it in real sentences. For example, if you learn the present perfect tense, try using it in daily conversation. You might say, "I have finished my work. I have seen that movie. I have learned many new words today." Using grammar immediately helps your brain remember it. Part 9. Learning through real content. Another effective method is learning through real content. Books, podcasts, videos, and conversations show how language is used naturally. Instead of memorizing grammar rules, you see grammar in action. Stories are especially powerful. Stories create images and emotions. This makes the language more memorable. You may forget grammar rules, but you often remember stories. Through stories, your brain absorbs grammar patterns naturally. Part 10. Changing your learning mindset. To improve English, you may need to change your learning mindset. Instead of asking, "What grammar rules should I study today?" try asking, "How can I use English today?" Language learning should be active. It should involve real communication. You can read, you can listen, you can speak, you can write. All these activities work together. When grammar becomes a tool for communication, learning becomes much more enjoyable. Final thoughts. Learning English takes time. It also requires balance. Grammar is helpful, but it is only one part of language learning. Many learners spend too much time studying rules and not enough time practicing the language. Real fluency comes from using English regularly, listening to English, speaking with others, expressing ideas, making mistakes and learning from them. Step by step, grammar knowledge becomes automatic. And when that happens, speaking English becomes easier. Thank you for listening today. Keep practicing your English. And remember, every small step brings you closer to fluency. See you in the next listening practice.